Hi, this is going to be a video about orientations. Now, you may have seen my gender identity video, which was really long. Hopefully this will be shorter. You don't need to necessarily watch that one first, but I do discuss how orientations are attracted to different genders, and I do use words that you might not understand. If you still think that there are only two genders, you should probably watch my gender identity video first, because I talk about different genders. Now, like in that video, I'm going to ask you to throw everything that you know about sexual orientations out the window, because there are a lot of misunderstandings and myths and misinformation out there. One of the things I want you to throw out is the Kinsey scale. And the reason why it's obsolete is because a lot of people do not fit on the Kinsey scale. It's a great tool to show that gay and straight isn't so black and white, and there's a lot of in between, and some people can be more one than the other, but still somewhere in between. And that's great for people that fit on it, but a lot of people don't fit on it. And a lot of people have the misunderstanding that everyone should, so they get really confused when people don't. And so I want you to throw that out as well. The first thing that you need to know when we're talking about orientations is that your orientation is based on attraction. And there's different kinds of attractions, which means there's more than one kind of orientation. The most well-known is sexual orientation, which is based on who you're sexually attracted to. What sexual attraction is it's attraction to a certain gender or genders based on wanting to be sexual with them. This is the kind of attraction that makes you go like, I want that person, and watch them walk as they walk away and look at their butt or breasts or whatever, and where you're just like, I would like to be in their bed. That's what sexual attraction is, which means what your sexual orientation is based on. Your sexual orientation has nothing to do with your gender. It has nothing to do with what porn you like to watch or what you like to fantasize about. It has nothing to do with who you're currently dating, what genders you have dated, what genders you have slept with, what gender you are sleeping with now. None of that has to do with your orientation. Your orientation is just what genders you are attracted to. Sexual orientation means attracted to people sexually. The next most common orientation is romantic orientation, which we're going to talk about later. But romantic orientation is based on your romantic attraction. That is attraction to a certain gender or genders based on wanting to be in a relationship with them or wanting to be close to them. Basically wanting to be part of their life and wanting them to be part of yours, and wanting to be partners together in a life together. And that's what romantic orientation and romantic attraction is. Other forms of attraction that are less important but still really important is sensual attraction, which is attraction based on wanting to be sensual, not sexual, but like cuddling, kissing, hugging, sensual things as opposed to sexual things. That's what gender you are sensually attracted to. So those are the major romantic and attraction. There's also aesthetic attraction, which people get mistaken for sexual and romantic attraction a lot. Aesthetic attraction is based on being attracted to someone just knowing that they're gorgeous. Like, a painting is gorgeous or a statue. You might not necessarily be sexually attracted to this painting or statue. The same is for some people. They may be aesthetically attracted to women. A lot of women are aesthetically attracted to other women. They say that they have girl crushes, or guys can be aesthetically attracted to guys. They're like, yes, that is a very sexy guy. I know that. Doesn't mean I want to have sex with them. Doesn't mean I want to be in a relationship with them or anything like that. So that's aesthetic attraction. And any of these attractions that you have can involve different genders, which means that your orientations can involve different genders. Your sexual orientation, your romantic orientation might not always meet up. You may be sexually attracted to any number of genders, but be romantically attracted to less. Like if you're sexually attracted to men and women, but you're only romantically attracted to men. So you only want to be in relationships with men, but you want to have sex with men and women. And the reverse can be true. So it can get a little bit tricky, especially since not a lot of people talk about romantic attractions, but it is still a big part of the life, your life and your partner's lives, and what you want from different relationships. So what we're going to try and clear things up a little bit. Your orientations, both your sexual and romantic orientations and everything else, can change from day to day. You may feel more attracted to one gender than another, and this can change throughout your life. You may go through many different orientations trying to figure out what fits you. I've been straight, gay, bisexual, and pansexual. I'm now figured out that I'm for sure pansexual. But especially through my teen years, I didn't quite know exactly what I was because my sexual attraction would change. Sometimes I'd be more attracted to males than females, sometimes more attracted to females than males, or I'd be more relaxed and comfortable with one gender than the other, and more romantically attracted to one gender than the other. So it can be really confusing, and your orientations may change, and you may go through different times in your life when you're more attracted to one or the other. And especially among people who are attracted to more than one gender, we kind of have this stigma where we feel like we have to stick to one orientation because there's this big myth that, oh, you're bisexual, well, you must just be confused, or you must just be going through a phase. Pick one side or the other, heterosexual or homosexual. So we feel like we have to just be one orientation to prove them wrong. Never choose your orientation based on what other people view you as or anything like that. It's fine for your orientation to change. It's fine for your attraction to change. That's normal, that's healthy, that's very common. Just be true to you and don't worry about what other people say. They're gonna talk about you anyway. They're just looking for an excuse. So it's fine for that to change. Don't feel pressured to stick to one orientation. And it's important to know that, like with gender identity, these labels are supposed to help you. They're supposed to help you find a community that you love, that helps you, that feels like a family, and it's supposed to help you understand yourself and be able to explain yourself better to other people. If these labels don't do that for you, then don't use them. If this doesn't help you find a community, don't use it. I know for me, whenever I found out that I was pansexual, it was like, pretty much like, I'm home. Like, I found this part of myself that I was missing. If that doesn't happen for you, that's fine. It doesn't happen for everyone. Everyone is different. Everyone's experience with gender and orientation is different. So don't feel like you have to be any one thing. It's fine if you don't find something like magical about these orientations, and if you don't want to use any of these labels, that's okay. But if you do find something, if this does help you figure out who you are or something about yourself, that's great. And if it helps you understand other people, that's amazing. Definitely. Okay, so we're going to list different orientations. If I miss your orientation, please let me know in the comments so that we can educate more people. I'm going to try and cover as much as I possibly can. Now, the first ones that we're going to talk about are the ones that you're most familiar with, and then the ones that you're probably least familiar with. A note: with a lot of orientations like heterosexuality, homosexuality, bisexuality, etc., these are based on gender, not genitalia. You're attracted to certain genders, not necessarily attracted to certain genitalia. That's a totally different thing, which I'll get to later. But with homosexuality, that means you're attracted to the same gender, like not genitalia, not the same genitalia. So if you're gay, if you're lesbian, you can't say, oh, I'm a lesbian, I hate penises. That's not synonymous. You may be a lesbian and you may hate penises, but those are different categories. Those have nothing to do with each other. Some lesbians love penises, and some lesbians have penises. To say that lesbian equals penis hate is very ignorant and very hateful towards transgender people who, you know, may have penises and may identify as lesbians or may date other lesbians or have sex with other lesbians. So please keep that in mind. So homosexuality is the most known. Homosexuality and heterosexuality, most known ones. Homosexuality is attraction to the same gender. Heterosexuality is attraction to a different gender. Usually, I've never heard this used as like male people attracted to any gender neutral or gender non-binary or anything like that. Usually it's used for guys who are attracted to girls or girls who are attracted to guys. But because it's about gender, it's a little bit complicated. And again, someone can be heterosexual with homosexual tendencies, homosexual with heterosexual tendencies. It's a very fluid thing, so don't always feel like you have to stay in one box. And these are called monosexualities, which is attraction to just one gender, not any other genders. Although you can feel different kinds of attraction, these are just sexual attraction. You may feel romantically attracted, sensually attracted, or aesthetically attracted to other genders. This is just based on sexual attraction. Then you have multisexualities, which is attraction to more than one gender. The most common multisexuality is bisexuality. And bisexuality means different things to different people. It's one of the most biggest categories out there as far as different definitions. It can mean attraction to men and women. It can mean attraction to any two genders, including like men and genderqueer people or anything like that. It can be attraction to the same gender that you are and any other gender, or the same gender and all other genders. It can mean attraction to all genders, attraction to any number of genders, anything like that. A lot of multisexual people just use bisexuality because it's the most well known, and that way they don't have to explain other words. It's any number of things. So again, it's a very personal definition. All of these are. They have different definitions for different people. And if you want to include your definition, if I forgot it, then please comment down below. The next sexuality is pansexuality, which is what I am, and that's attraction to all genders, and people who may not have a gender neutral or agender people as well. It's just attraction to people no matter their gender, and for some people it means that gender doesn't mean as much as other qualities to the person, although for others gender can mean a lot. It just depends. Polysexuality is attraction to many genders, sexual attraction. It can be any number of genders, it can be all genders, it just depends on the person. And multisexuality is the main umbrella term for any of these genders, but it also can be its own orientation, where it's attraction to many genders or any number of genders or all genders. Again, it varies from person to person. There's omnisexuality, which usually means attraction to all genders or attraction regardless of gender, and anything like that. There is also questioning, which is you're not quite sure what your gender is, or your orientation. See, everybody gets confused on these. You're not quite sure what your orientation is. There is a questioning where you're not quite sure where your gender is, but or what your gender is. But questioning and orientations, you may think that you're more one than the other. You may think you're heterosexual, you may think you're bisexual, but you're questioning, you're not quite sure. And there's usually a lot of experimentation that goes into this. There's also flexible, which usually comes with either heteroflexible or homoflexible, which means you mostly identify as heterosexual or homosexual, but you're flexible. You may sometimes feel like you want some girls, or you want some guys, or you want any other gender that you don't normally want. It's just flexible. You're okay. So some people, usually multisexual, identify as queer. Usually these are the people that get fed up with the questions and they're like, I don't know what I am, okay? I'm queer. It's like, I don't apply to any of these labels, and I've been through so many different orientations that I'm just queer. Just stop asking me. That's usually where I see it. But basically it just means, not straight. And you have lots of different orientations, or you don't feel like you're any one orientation more than the other, so you're just queer. Okay, so we have monosexualities, multisexualities, and then we're going to get into asexuality. And this does not mean that you reproduce asexually or anything like that. Almost all of these identities have horrible myths and misinformation and cliches and stuff, which I'm not going to get into all of these, but asexuality has a lot of misunderstanding. Is that a word? Misunderstandings about it. But what it means is, just like heterosexual people do not have sexual attraction to people of the same gender, asexual people don't have sexual attraction to any gender. It's not that weird. Many people aren't sexually attracted to at least a gender, so it's not that big of a stretch that asexuality would exist. And pansexuals are attracted to every gender, even people who don't have gender, so it's not that big of a stretch that there would be people that aren't attracted to any gender. And there are different kinds of asexuality, and I might miss some of them because it is pretty detailed and big category. A lot of asexual people refer to themselves as ace, and there's different kinds of asexuality, like demisexuality. Demisexuality means that you feel sexual attraction sometimes, usually after you make a connection with someone. This doesn't mean like you've been in a relationship for so long you feel comfortable to finally have sex with them. It's that you form a connection with someone and then you have sexual attraction towards them. Again, sexual orientations have to do with sexual attraction, not your sex drive. Asexual people may still have healthy sex drives. They may masturbate, they may even have sex. It just depends. They just don't experience sexual attraction. And demisexual people only experience sexual attraction after a huge connection that they have with someone. There's also gray asexual, also known as graya, which is when you sometimes experience sexual attraction, but not always. So those are the main categories for gender-based sexual orientations. There are also orientations based on other things, which I'm going into right now. There's gynosexual, which is when you are sexually attracted to people who have vaginas or feminine features, And androsexual is attraction to people with penises or who have masculine features. So see, like with the category lesbian, that's not someone who's sexually attracted to vaginas. That's someone who's sexually attracted to people who identify as women. Gynosexual is attraction to vaginas and people who have feminine features. So those are two different things, and that's important to know. There's sceliosexual, or scoliosexual. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. Scoliosexual, I think is how it's pronounced. And that's attraction to non-binary people, people who have ambiguous genitalia, people who have more ambiguous features that are more non-binary, neither gyno or andro, so scoliosexual. And there is also sapiosexual, which is attraction to intelligence. There's lithoromantic, which is people who experience romantic love but don't want their feelings reciprocated. And this goes more into romantic orientations than sexual orientations, but it's important to have that as an orientation as well. There's also objectum sexual, which is someone who is sexually attracted to inanimate objects. And I've seen like people attracted to like sexually attracted, not just, oh, I love cars, but like sexually attracted and even romantically attracted to cars. There's people who have married buildings and all that. So that's a pretty complex sexuality as well. Now, like I said, there's lithoromantic, which is experiencing romantic love and don't want their feelings reciprocated. There are also other romantic orientations, which are basically the same as the sexual orientations, like biromantic, heteromantic. Heteromantic, of course, would be romantic orientations to a different gender. Homoromantic would be romantic attraction to the same gender. There's aromantic, which is romantic attraction to no genders. And any of those can go with any of the parts. Like, I'm pansexual and panromantic, but that it doesn't always match up. I've known people who are bisexual but only homoromantic, or homosexual but biromantic. It just depends on the person. And you can be demi-romantic and gray romantic, gyno-romantic, sapio-romantic. It's just, again, very complex. Depends on the person. So that is mostly it. Sexual and romantic orientations are very complicated. They're very personal. No one can tell you what your orientation is, only you can. It can take years for you to figure out exactly what you feel comfortable with. The main thing is understanding yourself, letting yourself feel whatever you're feeling, not getting, all wrapped up in, oh, I have to find a label, I have to find a community, I have to find a noun, I have to stick to it. Just let yourself experiment and find out who you're attracted to and, what you need in a relationship, what you need sexually, and all that. Just be honest with your partners. If you want to experiment to figure out what your orientation is, be honest. Tell them, hey, I'm experimenting. I don't want a serious thing. I've had people experiment with being with other DFAB, designated female of birth. See my gender video if you don't know what that is. But I've had other DFAB people want to experiment with other DFAB people, and they started a relationship with me to do that because I've been queer since I was 13, and a queer can be an umbrella term for anybody who's not straight, cisgender. But that kind of hurt whenever they found out, oh, I'm not so attracted to DFAB people. So it's important to be honest with your partners. Hey, I'm experimenting. Hey, let's try this out. Hey, I just want to be casual. And it's great to experiment, and things happen that we can't explain. So just go with it, be honest, be true to yourself, and don't let anyone's words get you down. Try to find a community where you feel safe and where you can talk about your experiences, and don't let anyone try and pressure you into one orientation or the other, or feel like you have to stay in one orientation or anything like that. Just be true to yourself and love yourself, as well as figuring out who else you love. So this was my video on orientations. Hopefully this helped you understand some See you next time.